All right, thank you. Thank you. Stop. Okay, so yes, you can test out again with a 26 out of 28. So you can miss 2 questions. So, but it's your choice. If you miss 2 and say, I can do better than that, you can say, I want to review tomorrow and I want to take the summative. That's fine. Okay, number 1, there's a ton of these questions on here, okay? There's a ton of them. I put a bunch on here because, you got to understand what these integers mean. First of all, what is an integer? That's the first thing we've got to know. Durgay.
It's a whole number that's negative or positive.
Yeah, it's a positive or negative whole number. And we can use these integers to describe situations. Okay? There's always a word in there that's going to help you best describe. Give me some examples of words that would mean for positive integers. Positive integers. Give me one, Daniel. A gain. Yes, I thought you were saying, okay. A gain, yeah, you gain 10 yards or gain 20 bucks. Whatever. That would be a positive integer. Allie? Okay, that's okay. I'll come back to you. Harkin? Growth of 2 feet. I grew 2 feet over the summer. Not really, but a gain. He already said that. McKenna? Earning. Yes, you earn $10, or you make $10, or you stole $10. I hope you don't do that, but that would be a positive. You have 10 more dollars in your pocket. Shreya? Increase. Any others? Yeah? Above. Beautiful. Above sea level. Okay. Yeah. Yep. Growth. Showing your height. Yes. Good. Now give me some examples of negative integers that would. Kirsten?
Loss.
Yeah, you're losing something. Loss. Definitely. Jay Sydney. Withdrawing. When you withdraw money out of your account, you're taking money from your account, correct? Snoots? Decrease. When you decrease your, I have $10, I decreased it by $10. I'm negative 10 now, right? Doesn't mean I have negative 10. It means I have 0, but you guys get what I'm saying. Yeah? Below 0. Beautiful. Yeah. It's okay, yeah. Death.
Oh, yeah.
Depth. I thought you said death. I'm like, I guess I can see where you're getting negative integer from that.
Negative day.
Thanks for making this PG-13. Death for violence. Depth. Yes, if you're talking about, but remember, depth could be above sea level, but it could also be below. Because if I said I was 10 feet, I was at a depth of negative 10, that could be negative or positive. So the word depth doesn't tell you, but if it says I'm above or below, yes, that's beautiful. Allie? Yeah, taking away money. Yeah, you're subtracting money from your account, taking out, withdrawing, whatever. Yes? Decrease. Yeah.
Giving or getting. I know that one.
So,
Getting.
giving.
Like in a number.
Yeah, if you were giving money to somebody.
$5 and then a hobo gave him 50.
So, wait a minute. A hobo gave him 50?
Yeah.
That really doesn't make much sense. Okay.
I don't know. I just came up with words. Okay?
All right. All right. One more word. I got one more word for you guys. Deposit. What does that word mean? Deposit. When I if I deposit $150 into my account, what am I doing? Yes. I'm putting in. A deposit is when you put money into your account. So would that be a positive or a negative?
It'd be a both. It'd be both.
It depends on how you view it. But if I ever say, listen, if it would be, I could see where you could say both. Because technically, if you deposit $100 into your account, it's $100 less you have in your pocket. I see where you could say that's a negative. But mostly, when I use the word deposit, wink, wink, hint, hint, it'll probably be on the test. When I use the word deposit, it will be a positive because you're depositing money. Like if your grandma sends you a check for $20, or she sends you all $2 bills, like my grandma still does to this day. She just says, "Here's your $2 bill. Enjoy it. Woo, $2. Give me one kernel of popcorn at the rave. That'll work for me. One kernel for $2. All right. So, yes, if I'm getting money and I'm depositing it, that would be positive. Okay. So let's go on to number 1 now. So now that we went through those, these should be very easy. Okay. A $75 savings account withdrawal. Yes, Sydney? Beautiful. This would be A. I'm withdrawing. I'm taking money out of my account. Shh. Stop with the noises, please. I'm taking money out of my account. The key word there is withdraw. Okay? Zach? I'm withdrawing money out of my account. I'm taking it out. Okay? That'd be negative 75. Now, I want to just go over this real fast. I didn't teach this in class. I didn't do a very good job of this, to be honest. Plus or negative. That's what that says. And you're going to use this a lot when you get into like algebra. Who was that? Stop. Plus or minus 8. That's basically saying the answer is plus a positive 8 or a negative 8. And a good example of this that I could give you is I said, what if I asked you, what two numbers would have an absolute value of 8? What two numbers would have an absolute value of 8? Yeah?
Negative 8 would be.
Negative 8 and positive 8, right guys? I don't see everybody looking at me.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, instead of writing positive 8 or negative 8, they do it with this notation right here. This is how they write it. And you're going to use this a lot more when you are in 8th grade, maybe a little bit next year, but mostly 8th grade and then on up through high school math. You're going to use that notation. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So that I just wanted you to see that. Obviously, it's not the answer here because it's either going to be one or the other. Okay. Number 2. Write a positive or negative integer to represent the situation. A gain of 52 points. Kirsten?
B.
It is B, positive 52. Remember, if there is no plus sign, that means the number's positive, correct? All right, number 3. Now, a lot of you were like, looking at this question, and you were saying, Mr. Garrison, there isn't an answer. Well, yeah, there is. There's an answer. Of course there is. Draw a horizontal number line to represent the set of odd numbers from negative 9 to 9. Okay? Let's just go through, without you telling me the answer, let's just go through A through D, and you tell me what the problem with each one of those is. Okay? So A, let's look at A right now. Who wants to explain what's the matter with A? Emily. Right there, that's the problem. Now some people, I think we corrected this, but a lot of you were like, didn't know whether 0 was an even or an odd number. Well, the thing I tell you is I say, what is 10? Even or odd, guys? Even. 20 is even. 30 is even. 0 is an even number. Okay? 0, 2, 4, 6. All numbers are 2 away. What's 2 from 0? Would be 0, correct? Okay, so 0 is an even number. Yeah. Okay, so that means that one's out because 0 is in there. So that was pretty easy. Let's go to B. Go ahead. They did even numbers. So basically, if you put B, you basically don't know your difference between your even and odd numbers. That's essentially what that means. Okay? So if you're that person, write yourself a little note off to the side. Say, this one was even. I needed odd numbers. Something like that. Just write yourself a little note. Use your formative to write on it. This is a study tool. This is a better study tool than anything else I'm going to give you right here. Because the formatives and summatives look very similar. Now C, so B's out obviously. What about C? What's the issue with C, or is it not an issue? Is it good? Daniel?
It's good.
It is good. Now, I don't ever want you guys to stop there, though. I always want you to check D. Because ultimately, there's going to be 3 of the answers that got something the matter with them. There's something quite not right. There might be close. So let's figure out, what is D? What's the matter with D? It's an easy one to miss. Zach, what's the matter with it?
On the first number 9, it doesn't have a dot.
It doesn't have a dot on negative 9. And it tells us in the rules, it says from negative 9 to 9. So that means starting at negative 9 and going to positive 9 is what you need to show. Odd numbers between there. Yeah?
This question for me was really easy because I knew it was negative 9 to 9.
Yep.
And I looked for all the beginning ones, the circle on top for negative 9. And there's only B wasn't and D wasn't, so it just left me with A and C, and then I just looked through A and 0 was.
Beautiful. Yeah, that's a great technique. I like that. Look for which ones show the odd numbers first of all, and then immediately he saw that negative 9 wasn't a dot on it. Now, is this an easy one to miss sometimes? I think that this one is kind of one of those questions. It's like if you missed it right there, you're probably going, oh, how did I miss that? You rushed or something like that. Okay, so make sure you're taking your time on these and making sure that you get them right. Okay.
I swear I did this problem. I thought it in my head and I did it, but then apparently I didn't write anything down.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. All right, number 4. Which of the following statements is true? So before you did anything, I'm hoping that you just went down through every answer and you went true, false, see which one's true. So let's look at it. First of all, before I do that actually, I want to talk about these two signs. You guys have gotten to a little bit of a bad habit on this, and I'm only saying this because I remember when I'm walking around helping you guys and second period, okay? So today, I'm noticing that you don't know what these signs are. A lot of you. You don't know which one's which. You know how to read them. You know that the bigger one is always eating. It's always eating the bigger one. That's how you guys remember it. Who agrees with me there? Who remembers that the bigger one's eating? But those people that got your hands up, how many of you know the difference and know which one's less than and which one's greater than? Okay, good. So you guys do know. Good. Okay, that's fine. But you guys got to understand this. It's easy to do it your way, but when we get into the word stuff later, you're going to see that it's kind of weird. Okay? So, is this a less than or a greater than sign right here? That's a less than sign. A has a less than sign. Okay? That is, you have to know that. Okay? It looks like an L. If we're reading left to right, this is the way I told you guys to remember this. I told you this at the beginning of the school year. JC, head up. Okay? I said if you're reading left to right, because we do read left to right, correct? Right? Okay, when you're reading left to right, what do you see first, the little end or the big end? Do you see the less than part or the bigger or the greater than part? You see the little part. That tells me this is a less than. Also the fact that it looks similar to a squish down L. Stop. Okay? Same with over here. What do you see first, the greater than part or the less than part? You see the greater than part. So that would be a greater than sign. Okay? So, let's go back through the answers now. You guys tell me, raise your hand and somebody tell me, is A a true statement? Is -3 less than +3, Preston?
Yes.
That is true. So right now, I'm trying to give you a test-taking strategy. Should we stop right here?
No.
No, guys, keep going. Just make sure, because it's sometimes, especially on the OEA, there are going to always be two answers that look like those could both be right. One is more correct. We got to understand these test-taking strategies. So let's go through and let's just eliminate the ones that aren't true. Jennifer, is -5 greater than +5? No. Absolutely not. That is absolutely false. It's garbage. Okay? C, is -7 greater than +7? No, it's not. You can never have a negative greater than a positive, right? And finally, is 8 less than -8?
No.
No, it's not. Now, do you guys understand that I could write this like this? Who agrees with me? I'm sorry, not right. I didn't mean to write it like that. Are these two things saying the same thing?
Yeah.
They're exactly saying the same thing. It's still trying to eat the -8. So if you ever want to flip it around and flop your numbers, you have to flop your inequality sign. So D is false. The answer is A. Yes, sir.
If it ate the -8, wouldn't it get more hungry?
So wouldn't it be throwing?
It would be...
It'd get more hungry.
Oh boy, you just blew my mind. Okay, number 5. Okay, now we're going to do some absolute values. Now, what is absolute value? I'm talking about the definition of absolute value. A lot of you still do not know this. You need to know this, so you may want to write this at the bottom of your paper. It's a very, very simple definition, and we got to know it. Hearken.
It's the distance a number is from 0.
It's the distance that a number, whatever the number is, to 0. Can distances ever be negative?
No.
Never, ever, 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 ever. If I said from me to you, can that ever be a negative distance? Absolutely not. Okay? So, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to first of all, by the way, just so you guys are aware of this, these bars on the side are absolute value. That's telling you, it's asking you a question whenever you see these. It's going to say, what is the absolute value of -51? That's what it's asking. If you would ever see these, and you're going to see these on review sheets, you're going to see something like this. You're going to have this. This is not on this unit, but I just want to show you this. If I gave you something like that, you would write PEMDAS up top, right?
Yeah.
That's the first step. These bars right here, what do they kind of look like? They look like parentheses. So what do you think we should do first in this problem right here? We have to do the absolute value. So basically, you're going to treat absolute value as parentheses, okay? That's obviously irrelevant in this unit, but...
The only reason the answers were that.
Yeah, what? No. No, it has nothing to do with it. That's just the notation. The first thing I want to do is I want you to please, somebody right now, to tell me the new, after I've done the, because we have to do parentheses first, even though these are absolute values. What is the new statement after I've done the absolute value? Shreya? 51 is less than 43. And you guys, I would highly advise you writing this on your paper somewhere. B, what would be the new statement after I've done my absolute values? Yes?
25 is less than 93.
25 is less than 93. 71, or I'm sorry, the absolute value of 71 is greater than the absolute value of negative 84. Chris, what's the new statement?
71 and is greater than
84?
84.
Yep. Okay, and finally D, what would it be? Go ahead, Preston. 45 greater than 63. So now, let's go through and now let's select the one that makes sense. Is 51 less than 43, guys?
No.
Absolutely not. Is 25 less than 93?
Yes.
Yes, it is. 25 is certainly less than 93. Let's check this one. Is 71 greater than 84?
No.
Is 45 greater than 60? The answer here is letter B. Does everybody see how I'm attacking these questions, though? How I'm looking at the answers? I'm doing it. Because a lot of you, I guarantee, had no work on there. And I'll be honest, when I did my answer key, do you think I did that work? No, I didn't. But it's an easy way to make silly, silly errors. Okay, let's go on to number 6. Question. Yep. All right, number 6 and 7. Now, I'm going to start right now. Hand down, I got this one. Number 6 and 7, you guys need to listen. I do not like these questions. And when I did the test myself, I just kind of read it real fast and I thought it said something that it didn't. This is not a good question. You will not see a question like this on the test. Okay? And I'm going to explain why. Let's read what this says. Here's the statement. A loss of 25 points is less than a loss of 50 points. So let's go through here. What integer would describe that right there? Preston? What? Negative 25? What integer would represent that right there? Go ahead, Sydney. Negative 50. And then it says that is less than, so that's going to be that sign right there, right? Now, that would lead us to believe that the answer was A, correct? Now, I will accept A if you had it. How many of you had A, be honest? Okay, you did it like me. If you don't have your hand up, that's okay. You might be. I'm going to tell you right now, all of you with your hand up, which is 90% of you, have your hand up, or just like me. We all got this wrong.
What's wrong?
No, it's right. But it's wrong. It's technically wrong according to our textbook. Okay? Let me explain why. As we look at this problem right here, guys, is negative 25 less than negative 50? Is that a true statement?
It's greater
I know. That's how I interpreted it too. I did not even think about this until this morning when I met with another math teacher. And she's like, no, you can't have that. I said, well, I just took it for what the statement said, which is why I put A. What is it actually saying? It's saying that losing 25 points is actually less than losing 50 points. That's true, right? Think about it. It's weird to think about. You got to think backwards. Zach, over here.
So we got it wrong?
No. Listen. Isn't this a true statement? Is it if I was a student and isn't losing 25 points less than losing 50 points? Yeah, losing 50 points is more, right? This is a terrible, terrible question, and I apologize for even being on there. So, let's try to figure out what would actually make sense. We go through here, actually, negative 25 is not less than negative 50. Negative 25 is actually greater than negative 50, right? That's the true, what it should be. I will also accept letter C.
I put down both because I did.
Beautiful, put both. Normally don't put both because that's fine. But I'll accept both answers, okay? And I apologize, that one's on me. It's not a very good question. Our book did not do a very good job. If you have A or C, it's correct. If you have A or C, does not matter. I will accept both answers. Number 7 is going to be the exact same way. Yes?
Do you want me to explain to Allie?
Just tell her A or C. Okay, here we go. Same deal here. When I read this myself, I looked at it and I took it for what exactly it said. A depth of 342 feet below sea level. What integer would be represented there? For tubes? Yeah, but what integer would that be?
Negative.
Negative what?
346.
There you go. And then what integer would that be? Right there. Jacob?
Below 215.
Right. And then it says more than. So that would lead me to believe what symbol I should use here?
Greater than.
A greater than symbol. Right? A greater than symbol. So when I read this, I immediately went to number or letter B, right? But technically that's not correct. According to our textbook, that is not correct. So what's the correct answer? Well, guys, just look at it. Is that right there a true statement? No, it's not. It's not a true statement at all. Negative 342 is not bigger than negative 215. It's more negative. It's less. Right? So I will also accept the other one that looks like this. Negative 3, where's that? Letter A, right? I will accept A or B on this one. Okay? Now, wait a minute. Before you flip the page, please put what you got out of 7. The number of questions you got correct out of 7, please. Okay, guys. The table shows the temperature of a city taken on 3 different days. Which day is warmer than day 1? That's the first question. So we look at day 1 here and we say, okay, it was 14 degrees. Now this part's easy, right? Obviously day 2 is negative 6 degrees. Day 3 was 23 degrees. Clearly day 3 was warmer, right? Which is nice because you can eliminate these 2 answers. So I hope nobody had C or D. Unless you just totally misread it and you thought it said which day was colder. But it should be which day is warmer, okay? So now what we got to figure out is we got to figure out what the difference is. Now, you guys are going to learn. We are a couple units away from doing our true integer unit. When I say integer unit, I'm talking about adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing integers. Okay, we'll do that later on in the year. But that's why I don't like necessarily thinking difference. Whenever you see this word, I'd like everybody to please write this. Whenever you see that word when you're talking about integers, think of this word right here. Because difference would imply that it's subtraction, correct?
Yes.
Just think of distance. Difference and distance, same word in math. Difference and distance, same word in math. Now, what I did when I did this, and what you should have done, is the first thing you should have done is drawn a number line. How many of you drew a number line? Beautiful. Everybody needs to draw this while I'm doing it with me. And I'm going to explain why, because I guarantee, Allie, draw the number line. I guarantee there'll be a question just like this on a summative. I promise you it'll be on there. Promise. Why did I do a vertical number line, not a horizontal number line, in this example?
Because it's small.
What?
Because it's like a thermometer.
A thermometer. We're talking about temperature. So I drew it vertical because I know that this is a vertical number line is a thermometer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to figure out what the change in temperature was from day 1. From day 2 to day 3. So I'm trying to figure out what the change is. First of all, was the change positive or negative?
Positive.
It was positive, right? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my temperature on here, negative 6. And then I'm going to put my day 3 temperature, 23. What other integer do I need to put on there?
No.
Yeah.
0.
No, because it doesn't have anything to do with it, because this is just wanting to know the change in temperature, the difference or the distance from day 2 to day 3. 0. We want to put 0. Now, A has a distractor to it. What if you looked at this real quick and you said, oh, this is 6 degrees, that's 23 degrees. What would be the increase? 17 degrees, right? This is trying to get you to make that silly mistake, okay? If it was negative 6 degrees, right here, uh-oh. What happened? Uh-oh. Okay, if it's negative 6 right here, how many degrees would it have to go up just to get back to 0 degrees? It would have to go up 6 degrees. How many degrees would it have to then go up to go from 0 to 23? So if I know that I increase 6 degrees back to 0, 23 degrees back to 23, again, don't think of it as distant, because when you think difference, that'll confuse you right now. Now, later on in the year, you're going to understand why it is difference. But right now, you don't understand that yet. What is the distance from negative 6 to 23? Durgay? You have to. It is 29 degrees. Okay? It's 29. 17 would be from 6 degrees. Yes. If it's urgent.
No.
Okay, number 9. Here we go. I'm going to go through these pretty quick from now on. Zach Martin, number 9. A temperature that's 4 degrees below 0. A, -4. Beautiful. Obviously, the word below there would tell us that it's a negative integer. Okay? Number 10. An increase of $2,120, Amber. Yeah, it'd be B. Just keep in mind, guys, when there isn't a negative or positive sign, the number is what? Positive. Positive. So it is B. Okay? Number 11. Which of the following statements is true? I think that's a -83, right? Okay. Let's go through here. Is -83 less than 74, guys?
Yes.
All right, so that's true. Should I stop there?
No.
No. Jennifer, is -57 greater than 32?
No.
No, that's false. Is -70 greater than -60 or positive 65? No. And is 28 less than -38? No. So obviously, the answer here is A. You can never have a negative greater than a positive, ever. And you can never have a positive less than a negative.
Unless it's actually about.
Well, that's totally different. Okay. All right, which of the following statements is true? Let's rewrite these statements. Tell me how to rewrite them. Somebody give me the A to rewrite it. Shreya, go.
396 is less than negative.
Okay, B. Who wants to give me that one? JC.
71.
171.
171 is greater than 439.
Okay. C. Big Nash.
735 is greater than 892.
Beautiful. And D. McKenna.
562 is greater than.
Less.
Less than.
Yep.
609.
Now we can just go. Now that we've done the work, we did PEMDAS, right? We did parentheses first, essentially. Now we can compare them. And I guarantee you, a lot of you didn't do this work. Again, I know you did. So that's why I'm showing you now. Just go through. Get those absolute values out of get them out of there. They're gone. Forget about everything over here now. You have made this a new multiple choice question. Right? Now there's your new choices. That will help not to confuse you. Otherwise you'll get confused just looking at it. Trust me. Okay? So, which one of these is true? Is 396 less than 83, guys?
No.
Is 171 greater than 439?
No.
Is 735 greater than that?
No.
Is 562 less than? The answer is D. Number 12. Good. Okay. Number 13. 13. Which is a statement that could describe the following inequality? Okay? When you say negative 376 points, what word would be used to describe that? Huh? Jacob?
Less.
What?
Negative is less, so less.
Yeah, so let's say a loss of 376. That is a, what kind of sign is that right there? That is a less than. And then what statement would represent negative 230? A loss of 230. So when I write it just like that, I say, oh, absolutely. What's the answer here? D. A loss of 376 points is less than a loss of 230. But, hang on a second here, guys. There's another answer. Again, guys, when I have this problem right there, do you guys agree that 4 is greater than 3? So could I not write this as 3 is less than 4? Notice the numbers flip-flopped, and so did the inequality symbol. So by me saying that, I have to also accept letter B, right? Because I know that if I'm saying that this is less than that, then I also have to say that is greater than that. Does that make sense? Does everybody get that?
Yeah.
Okay, so I will accept B or D there, yes? Yeah.
It shows me less than 0. Why is it greater than that?
I know. I thought we had.
Why is it less? What are you saying?
It shows me less than 0, not greater.
I know that. D's the correct answer. But again, this says 4. This says I gain 4 points, and that is greater than a gain of 3 points. But if I flip it, I can also say a gain of 3 points is less than a gain of 4 points. Okay, let's go on to number 14. All right, a small business keeps track of the change in the number of customers it has. The table below shows the change in the number of customers per month for 1 year. Now there's 2 questions. In which month did the company lose the most customers, and in which month did it gain the most customers? So as I look here, before you guys give me the answer, I just want to look at the months. What does -8 mean for January? What does that mean? In the context of the problem, what does it mean? Daniel.
They lost 8.
They lost 8 customers. They're -8 customers now. That makes sense. Whereas in April, they gained 6 customers. That's easy to understand, isn't it? What if it had been a 0 here? What happened then? If we had 0 in May,
It stayed the same.
they didn't gain or lose any. They stayed right at the same number they had the previous month. So let me ask you guys this. A higher level thinking question here. If I asked you how many customers were lost in January and February? Jennifer?
February.
No. How many total were lost in January and February? Grant? 20. Now some people say -20, but think about how I phrased the question. I said, how many did they lose? Well, they lost 20 people. Now if I said, what's the integer? What integer would describe what happened in January and February? That would be -20. Does that make sense, guys? So now let's go a step further. What if I said, tell me what's the integer that would describe January, February, and March? What would that be? What's the integer describing January, February, and March, Kirsten?
The integer would be
-24. That would be the integer. But if I said, how many people did they lose in 3 months, the first 3 months, what would it be? +24. Does that make a little sense?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, so we can obviously see that which month did they lose the most? Right there. And which one did they gain the most? June. So the answer, I think, is it A?
Yeah.
All right, A. January, or February and June. So the answer is A. Now at the bottom, please put how many you got right out of 7, please.
Wait, we have to put them from.
No, just that page. Just,
I know that.
yeah.
February.
That's
It
right.
has to be that order.
You did it opposite because it asks for the one that lost the most first. So you got to go in the right order. All right, next page. Okay, here we go. I'm going to start zipping through some of these ones. Okay, a loss of 45 points, that would obviously be a -45. Very easy. I think you guys are getting those down very nicely now. 8 degrees below 0 would be a -8. So we got AC on the first 2.
AC.
Number 17. The table shows the change in 4 companies' stock prices at the end of a day's trading. Don't. Which company's stock lost the most? So, again, if this said change in price 0, Sydney, you listening? If this said change in price 0 right here, what would that mean? Did they change it all? It didn't go up, it didn't go down, it stayed right the same. So when you see a negative, does that mean the price is going down or going up, Zach? When you see a negative on here, does that mean the price went up or down? It went down. So it wants to know who lost the most. Whose went down the most? King, right? King went down whatever it is, $5 or whatever.
He's losing his tax.
Okay, good. Let's go over. I know that there's ones below that, but we're going to go up to 18. Okay, graph the integer 4 and its opposite on a number line. Now, what's the opposite of 4, Drapes?
The opposite of 4.
Yeah.
I didn't know. So confused.
Okay, what's the opposite of 4? -4. Remember, opposites are always the same number, opposite sign. Same number, opposite sign. So if I gave you -10, the opposite of -10 would be +10. The opposite of 12 would be -12. All right? So, which one shows 4 and -4 on your number line? Okay? It is A. B, I don't know what, that's showing 0 and 4. I don't know why maybe they just to get you confused about, absolute value. I don't have any idea, but B doesn't really make sense. C is the same way, probably something to do with absolute value. And then this one doesn't really make any sense, so that's your answers there. Number 19. The table shows the temperatures of 4 cities. Which one is not true? Well, we really guys, how many of you just completely disregarded this table? It just went right to the answers. Yeah, that's what you probably should do. The table's kind of not important here because it's all about just figuring out which inequality is not true. So, is 4 greater than negative 14? Yes, positives are always greater than negatives. Okay, that one's out. Is 0, whoops, well, it's not out. That means it's false, right? That's what I meant. Okay, is 0 less than 4? That is true. Is 3 greater than 4?
Wait, you wrote false.
Well, I'm
No,
not.
it's on A.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to do that. So I did mean to. All right, sorry. 0 is less than 4. That's true, right? This is true. 3 greater than 4, guys? That's false. And then obviously a negative is always less than 0. That's true. The answer is C. C, C, C. Okay, number 20 down here to the bottom left now. What is absolute value, guys? What is absolute value? I'm not talking for the absolute value. I want to know what the definition. You need to know this. If you are sitting there and you do not know this definition, you need to listen. Chris.
It's a number that is between two numbers.
No. No. Come on, guys. This is what I told you guys. I told you when I taught this, I said most of you, you will do this. You will learn that the answer is always positive. You will learn that. So you know what absolute value is. But what I told you guys is you will not actually know what you're doing. So you need to get to that point. You have to understand what you're doing. It'll be on the test. Okay? Sydney. It's the distance that a number is to 0. It's how far is it from 0? How many integers are there between this number and 0? That's all it's asking. Okay? And we know that distance is always what?
Positive.
Positive. Distance can never be negative. That's why it doesn't matter if you take the absolute value of a positive number or a negative number. The absolute value is always positive because distances can only be positive, okay? So, what is the absolute value of negative 12? Amber?
12.
It is 12. Now, if you're somebody that did put a little plus sign in front, that's fine. You didn't have to. That's optional. Okay, use a number line to order the integers from least to greatest. So if I drew my number line on here, okay, I'm just going to start from the furthest to the left. What's the smallest number up here, guys? Negative 9. And then negative 7. And then 0. And then 3. And then 6. Then 9. If you have to have it just like that.
It's 7.
Oh, did I forget 7?
No, it is 7.
there is no
The
9.
biggest number is 7.
Yeah, I know. I was just testing you guys.
Yeah.
All right. I was just testing you guys. I knew what I was doing. All right. So, you have to have all, how many, 6 numbers. You have to have them all. Number 22, absolute value of 17. Chris?
The absolute value of 17.
What is absolute value, Chris?
The distance.
Yes, and how far is 17 to 0? 17 whatever. 17 feet, 17 miles, doesn't matter. Okay, just think of it as a number line. What is the opposite of negative 8, Drapes? Positive 8, good. Plus 8, you didn't have to write plus 8, but you could. Find the opposite of the following integer. Martin? It is negative 12. Okay, that page right there was out of 10. So put how many you got correct. How many of you can still test out? Oh, nice. You're beautiful.
Did you miss 2?
All right. Shh. Here we go. Oh, here's one that threw a little curveball at you. Hopefully you remembered me telling you this answer. What is the opposite of 0? Yes? It is itself. 0. Or you could have written itself. If you put this, guys, if you put negative 0 or something like that, that's wrong. Remember, 0 is not positive or negative. It is the reflection point on a number line. Okay? It's where everything gets reflected. 1 and negative 1 are the same distance from the reflection. Just like your head, if your head was 5 feet from the edge of the pool, how far out into the water is your head? 5 feet. It's the same principle, okay? All right. Number 6. Draw a vertical. There's a lot of pieces to this. Now, first of all, vertical we have to know is up and down. So if you didn't do a vertical, it's already wrong. It's wrong if you didn't do a vertical, but I think you guys have learned vertical. Maybe you think about a vertical jump, something like that. That's how I remember it. But vertical is up and down. Horizontal will be laying down horizontally. Yes. Now, a lot of people are missing this. I made some people mad last period because they were mad because they didn't do it right and they were arguing with me. It says draw a vertical number line to represent the opposites of the whole numbers from 10 to 15. So if on last chapter I would have said draw a vertical number line that gives me the whole numbers between 10 and 15. So do I care about 10 through 15 positive?
No.
No, I don't. What I care about is negative 10 to negative 15. So your number line should only have negative 15, negative 14, negative 13, that's supposed to be a negative 12, negative 11, negative 10. Now, a couple things. There should only be 6 numbers on here, and that's it. If you have more numbers than that, it's wrong. Okay? If you have negative 10 at the bottom, it's wrong. Remember, smaller numbers go to the bottom, larger numbers go to the top. Has everybody got that? No, I didn't. No. No, it's wrong. It's wrong. Okay? Guys, think about it. If I said represent the integers from 1 to 5, and you put from negative 1,000 all the way to 1,000, does that mean you did it right? No, I'm telling you, you only represent what you are told here. That's all this thing should represent. So you had to have that, again, negative 15 had to be at the bottom of it. Last 2 questions. Now, guys, these are each worth 2. So if you want, you can put like number 27 and number 28 there, okay? And do it that way. These are each worth 1. Now, Grant, what's the definition of absolute value? The distance a number is from 0. That's all you can have. There's not really any, I can take some questions about if you guys want to ask me if yours is right, but it should say something about how far it is from 0. That's simply what it should be. Allie.
I wrote the amount of integers from that number to 0.
I will accept that. Beautiful. Yes.
I wrote the amount of numbers to get to the middle, and I wrote 1 to 0.
Yes.
I have to be positive number for an integer.
Okay, yes, that's good. Yeah, Zach.
It is opposite of the number, like negative 14, absolute value is 14.
Nope, that's wrong. It's not the opposite. That's not true. It's got to say the distance from 0. You're giving me the definition of an opposite. But the absolute value of positive 8 is not the opposite, negative 8. You see what I'm saying?
With the example, negative 14 is 14, right?
Yeah, but your definition's not right. Okay? Vignesh?
I put the number it is from 0.
The number it is from 0, yeah, I'll accept that. Yep.
I wrote absolute value is how much a number is from 0.
Yes. Yeah.
I said the value from 0.
The value and...
It kind of does.
I'll accept it. Yep. Okay. All right, and then finally, integer. Now, guys, nobody should have their hands up because you have to have exactly what I write here, period. Positive or negative
Exactly.
whole numbers.
Yes, I did.
You got to have something that looks just... How'd you write it? Is it that?
I wrote
this
a
is...
whole number and then parentheses negative or positive.
That's fine. Guys, you guys understand. If you have something like that, it's fine.
One letter. A.
Yeah, I put 8 first. That's
A.
That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Allie.
Shh. An integer is what is being added or subtracted to a continuous number line or the numbers between each one of them.
No, that's wrong. Yep.
I said integer is a whole number.
No. Because if it was just a whole number, then why would we call it an integer? A whole number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positives. The integer includes wholes or positives and negatives. Yeah?
I put an integer is a number which is positive or negative.
No, that's wrong. Because 2.9 is not an integer. You have to say whole number. Does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
If you do not have if you just say it's a positive or negative number, that's not true. Negative 4.8 is not an integer. Negative 4 2/3 is not an integer. It has to be a positive or negative whole number. Now, the entire thing